And this is going to be all about the rock cycle. So what is it? Well, it's a series of processes that slowly change all rocks, and it takes millions and millions of years to do it. This is one example that you have here. So what are some functions of the rock cycle? Well, first of all, they destruct things. So remember when we were talking about continental versus oceanic, and we subducted it, right? Remember we put the smack down on Granny and melted her back into the mantle? Well, that's a destruction, right? So that's a rock cycle function right there. Another one is to change, and that's like metamorphic rocks there. And another one is actually to build, so to reform those rocks from the hot magma is like an igneous rock. So I'd like you to meet one of the guys from my old dead dude club. His name is James Hutton. He's also known as Mr. Rock Cycle. He's also known as the father of modern geology. And where he got all his information was he really studied many different rocks types in Scotland. And he also came up with a big 50-cent word, and I want you guys to use it tonight at dinner and say, hey, Mom or Dad, I know what uniformitarianism is. And uniformitarianism just means that the same processes, meaning plate tectonics and the rock cycle, occurred millions of years ago. Guess what? They still occur today. And that's all that means. So I hope you enjoy it.
James Hutton had a revolutionary idea, not based on a guess, but on observations. Observations that gave him an intimate understanding of erosional and depositional patterns of rock and soil. Hutton trained as a chemist and a medical doctor, but chose instead to work as a farmer and entrepreneur rather than practice medicine. Through this, he built considerable wealth, which allowed him the freedom and time to pursue his passion of science. He was part of the Scottish Enlightenment and a member of the Royal Society of Edinburgh, where he would present his pivotal paper in 1788, proving that the Earth was far older than the 6,000 years prescribed.
So let's get back into the rock cycle here. So let's bring back that conservation of mass. See, everything I teach you always comes back to you. So even the rock cycle must actually follow the conservation of mass. As you know, Earth does not get bigger and bigger and bigger. What happens is that it just recycles the same rocks over and over. And this, of course, would follow the fact that we can't destroy, we can't create or destroy matter. So where would you find the rock cycle happening if I said, for homework, go out and find the rock cycle happening? Well, you could go to the surface and the crust. You could also go in the mantle. Now, the core you're actually going to find is actually going to be used as a heat source. So here's one more quick video clip.
Rock cycle. Now you can find out for yourself about the rock cycle next time you go walking near a volcano. You'll see hot lava coming right out of the ground and cooling off to form new rocks. Now the reason we have volcanoes on the Earth is that the Earth's surface, the Earth's crust, is made of gigantic plates of rock called tectonic plates. And the plates are always moving, shifting, even today. So as the plates on the Earth's surface move and shift, they run into each other. Now when plates bump into each other, one plate gets forced below the other one. Take a look at this. These are our tectonic cookies of science. Now, if one cookie rides over the other, you can see that the cookie underneath gets forced down. And if that were rock, it melts down like lava back into molten rock. And the rocks on top just keep getting older and older. Now back here, where the cookie crumbles, that's where the new volcanoes form. The molten lava comes up to the surface and makes brand new rocks. The rock cycle's been going on for millions and millions of years. It's great. Well, thank you for joining me on Consider the Fun.
So let's talk about weathering in the rock cycle. You can actually have two different types, mechanical and chemical. Hi, Mabel. Mechanical weathering is a natural process that breaks rocks, include ice wedging, plants' roots, and swift-flowing water, and wind that blows sand. Chemical weathering actually changes the composition of rocks and breaks them down. Come here, Mabel. Rainwater and acid and oxygen, they all act on rocks. All right, summary part 1 for the rock cycle. If you would please tell me the 3 functions of it. Who is James Hutton and why should we study him? Basically, why is he one of my old dead dudes? And compare and contrast weathering mechanical versus weathering chemical.